Board to order. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Lindman?
Here.
Giramini? Longbreak?
Here.
Carrico?
Here.
McCain?
Present.
Motion to excuse Schwartz and Ingram.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the agenda, or is there any additional?
That looks good. I'll move to approve the agenda as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval, should we do these separate, or can we do them together, the minutes from?
Might as well do it separately in case somebody doesn't want to pull something.
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the May 15th regular meeting?
I approve. The meetings are fine. I didn't see anything wrong when I read them.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the May 8th work session?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And no chairman report or communications to the board. There is no public, so we will not open to public. Any new business? It says none, but. Continuing business, replacing the wooden kiosk information board, which was Linda.
So Linda said for July meeting, she had
Yes, we can just postpone it till then.
Do we have anything on the repair replacement of the hockey basketball area at Cluny Miller?
just, it was raised during the budget session that council had, so council is aware. Andy, the head of DPW, actually did raise that as a concern, saying that they are in need of something beyond simple crack repair, and doesn't matter who they've gone to, companies just are not very keen on doing that kind of work because of the liability issues that can arise from a space that people play on. So it just seems like it's really difficult to get out repairs from an outside contractor.
So what's the solution? Is they talking about in order for it to be repaired, you have to totally replace it?
Yeah, resurface, you grind down and resurface. You can do a partial grind and not do a full, and then resurface. You can't get to the base. If you do a full grind, you can get down to the base and add more or make it more stable and stuff, things like that. But there are options depending on the budget and things like that that we could do to address this. It's regardless a larger capital expenditure.
Yeah, it needs to be done. But with a partial grind, it seems like the cracks would just come back.
That's right. Yeah, they would, 100%. So I don't think it's an effective option, but it is technically an option. But yeah, you're not gonna, with how deep, how wide some of those cracks are, you really probably need to just bite the bullet and do a full, just tear it up and add some more, add more underneath.
Yeah.
Re-level it, because it shifts over time.
So in other words, they'll look at it, we'll have to wait until the 24 budget year, I assume.
24, 25.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think so. I mean, they might try and do some of the stuff they've found and attempted and see if they can't do something to at least reduce some of that cracking, but any kind of durable repair doesn't seem likely. So the only thing that will really last beyond months or season, it will be looking to replace or resurface. And so that's where we're at. They've got it so wide and they've been going for so long. That's just where we're at.
So where does that put us? We just have to wait on.
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, I said I asked
Yeah.
for a quote and things.
Oh, okay.
And it was supposed to see when that comes back.
Yeah.
Our engineer was out in somewhere far away, somewhere where it's like 1 o'clock right now, a.m. So he's somewhere in Asia, I think.
He's in Norway.
Oh, is that where he is?
Yeah, European cruise, yeah.
Okay, I was way
Who's
off.
this?
Mike Powell.
Mike Powell.
Oh, way off. I thought it was.
That's close enough.
It's a country.
It's a country. It's on Earth. You're close. You got it.
I'd love to do it.
I'm almost there.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, so he's he was away. He was at the council meeting last week. So once he gets back,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
going to be a little bit there too.
All right.
Make sure to discuss it with him. you can take a look at them at some point so you really can appreciate the severity.
As far as incentivizing contractors, is there a way to, I don't want to say transfer liability, but, well, I guess transfer liability away from the contractor, or at least
Like a waiver?
almost like a waiver, yeah, sure, a waiver or some other way to waive liability for contractors to make the bid more enticing besides just offering more money.
Probably, but I think the fear is, at the end of the day, a lawyer would say, who did the work?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's where you get bitten, and this is Michigan. If you've watched any cable TV for 5 minutes, you've seen plenty of ads of those kinds of attorneys. So we have quite the depth chart in that realm. So I think there's just a natural cautiousness,
Yeah, absolutely.
unfortunately. But it's one of those things where, in terms of like the resurfacing, especially the blacktop, maybe that's something we could tie into a road project. And we're not doing roads this year, we're going to tie them, do them next year in combined budgets, this budget and the next one. So maybe at that time, we could potentially do something, you never know.
Yeah, or maybe
It's something that if we go for bids early enough, we support it.
another idea that came up while you were talking was perhaps a different material. I don't know what material could substitute that would be able to last in the elements is my only concern. And I don't know enough about, that type of stuff. I'm not my dad. My dad would know way more.
I was trying to think, like, in terms of tennis, you got your hard court, your clay court, your grass, I mean.
Yeah, let's just put grass
I don't think
Sure.
grass would be perfect,
Yeah,
I
let's
don't
put
think hockey
grass in.
people would like the grass.
Yes, absolutely.
And I don't think it would water as much as they do like at Wimbledon to keep them going. So, I think, there probably is some material alternative, it's just, wouldn't matter if what's underneath isn't good.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
that's what.
Yeah, they have to fix the base.
Like every time, if you don't have, it's like anything, if the house isn't good, if the base of the house isn't good and it starts to shift, you got yourself a lean tower pizza kind of thing, if it's historically a tremendous thing, then I wouldn't want to live in it.
We can generate tourism.
Yes, there you go.
That-
Amazing Leaning Court.
Yeah.
Then again, on Saturday, I saw these people set up for like a basketball camp. On the courts, they set up, and they were probably gonna be there for a few hours. A couple coaches and a ton of kids, so.
No, it's great. That's great.
Yeah, and the hockey's still there.
Yeah.
Can't skate.
I saw somebody skating out, they weren't playing competitively, but they were skating, and I was like, those
That
are some
is-
old people. So,
There were
Yeah.
people playing, there was like,
Right.
people up at the tennis
Yeah,
courts
that's
this
what I
morning.
drove by there one time, saw that too. So yeah, our courts get used. Most people say, they're okay to use. I don't think you'd want to have a major competition on them. But people,
Yeah, we're aiming for utilization, not major competition stuff, because, again, you would just go to Commerce or one of the bigger municipalities.
But then you look at Richardson, that thing is packed.
Exactly.
So there is a need to
To have something.
and to more efficiently use our space.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think like we're talking about maybe taking those 2 half basketball courts and converting them or something like that.
Yeah, just offering something, but not
Right.
trying to compete with Commerce, because there's.
We're not, we're moving like,
Yeah.
we only want to be the star of the world one day a year, that's July 3rd.
Yeah.
We are dead with being our own little great community. So, well, yeah, that's why I did get a text from Diane, she forgot, but she's coming.
Oh, okay. Do we have event summary of the garden sale, spring garden sale?
We had a little over 30 people sign up, plus Karen Hills, the entire condo association. A lot of interchange on Facebook, so people were interacting, and it was fine itself. Sounds like the early day, like the Thursday and Friday were a little slow. Not too surprising, that tends to be the case. When it's a spring one, it's always a little quieter, but yeah, didn't hear any complaints or anything, but people want more houses, but if somebody doesn't want to do it, they're not going to do it. So, can't force them. But of course, the next one's always the big one, it's also we try to tie that in with the international, or the national rep, so kind of fanfare. And it's also real summer, so there's a bunch of kids still in school and things like that. So, yeah, we've got all.
I'll skip over D till Debbie gets here. And we'll go on to E, Tuesdays in the park.
I think we're all set. I mean, I have all the supplies, the regular supplies, and we were informed that, we're gonna have a couple of vendors there, which will be nice, and, I'll be there, before 5, probably 4:45. I don't know how long it's gonna take for them to set up. And, I know, are you planning on being there?
Yes, so I will be there for the first one to help with setup, and then for July and August, I'll be able to run the whole thing. Well, not.
Yes, we can have a parade, he's
Yeah,
getting.
no, that's not, that came out wrong. I'll be able to be present for the whole thing, there we go.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that came out wrong.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and are you gonna, Mark, I see Mark, didn't you? Okay, and Joe, since I already know Linda and, Molly are being, and so that's it, just looking, hopefully we'll have nice weather, with decent turnout.
You're supposed to
The
have a good day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
spinner machine is back.
Pardon me?
The spinner machine is in the in there. So I bought the place today, so, because I was just like, oh, in case we need them, they don't go bad.
Yeah.
And that way we have, and that box of paint is heavy, so I sort of plug your paint in there. So, we're in there.
Want to see everybody in Berlin.
We'll go
What time
back.
do you want us there?
It starts at 5:30, so like 5 o'clock if you can.
5? Okay.
Or if you're running like 5:15, most of the time over there. It's more to direct people with Oakland County, make sure they just to set things up, give us direction, and we have to get the rest of our things out. And then, the guys are always helpful carrying the snow machine and the popcorn machine.
Yeah, we'll have we'll have our author, we'll have the baker, and we'll have,
The orthodontist.
Yep, so.
So, are they bringing their own tables, or should we plan on?
The orthodontist, I'm not sure, the other two are vendors, they do.
We don't have any tables.
So-
No, I didn't know if we needed to move the tables.
If they-
Oh, yeah, too, yeah, you want to see that
Yeah,
too.
we'll hand them around.
Yeah. That's
So I
it.
thought there was an artist that had reached out wanting to come to Tuesdays in the Park.
Not so much Tuesdays in the park,
Oh,
it was,
We were talking more for the cornrows.
okay.
sorry, Paul.
My daughter's an artist too, I was talking to her yesterday. She's like, well, if there's gonna be artists there, I'll show up.
Oh,
and bring my stuff."
really? Oh.
Well, I don't know that she can make it tomorrow now, I'm not sure to know this, but maybe the.
Yeah.
We're not charging these vendors to come to Tuesday in the park, so it's just a matter of they
Right.
want to come and display their wares.
Yeah, they wanted to do it just to show what they were doing.
Yeah.
See if it was.
Just add a little something.
Yeah.
Because particularly for the adults, other than just a fun game for the kids.
Well, she can sketch people and do caricatures and stuff like that.
Oh,
She's the type,
that
where
would be
we're sitting in a
so
restaurant,
cool.
she brings a sketch pad everywhere she goes, and you can tell exactly who she's drawing, you know?
Really?
Yeah.
And
You should see the
she
dragon she made me for Father's Day, it's phenomenal.
Really?
See, maybe she'd be interested in doing something at the cornrows, so she
Yeah.
would charge.
It'd be
Yeah.
cool to have her just do like at the Tuesdays in the Park, like the kids playing, like doing a
Caricature of
the
them.
kids playing, just in a general setup, just to like, that we can post and say, hey, this is sort of like a court sketch artist kind of thing, showing the actions as it happens, but just showing that scene, so we have those kinds of, I think that'd be neat, rather than our pictures that are, do you need to get approval from parents to post
Yeah.
a sketch, you wouldn't need to, so.
And she does, pet portraits and stuff like that.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, she's very talented. She's paying the bills doing artwork now, so it's all good. And she got a degree in art.
Yeah.
She went to art school.
So that's good. Okay.
So I'm gonna add her to the artist list for the cornrows.
All right.
What's her name?
Jen,
Jen.
Awesome.
so we circle back to D.
To D, 5K.
Oh, wasn't that fun? It was great. I was very pleased with everything with that, so.
Yeah, the weather was perfect.
So, how did we compare to 22? Do we have more participants?
Oh,
the
we
same?
had a lot more. I think we had like 25 registered last year, and we had 67 like this year.
Wow.
Without the kids,
67.
and then 11 for the bubble. Yeah, we did good.
Because this is,
So a
Yeah, I
couple,
think it's
recommendations from people would be like to have water like at the halfway point next year, so I'll do that. And do the bubble run first. So the people that are running can see the kids
Oh, yeah.
do the bubble run.
Yeah,
And I think next year I'm gonna do like a 1K for the older kids.
Yeah.
So I'll add a element to it. So yeah, I think it turned out really good.
yeah, the only thing that, with Bonnie, when we were near, not the big car entrance into the Glen Maple, but the other one, we were there, when people made a turn, and we came back, few people looked and wanted to know, which way are we supposed to go? So we were able
Yeah.
to, so I mean, and we tried to move the sign, but the arrow still would have been the wrong way, we couldn't have done it. So maybe we can have a sign that's reversible or something.
Well, you know what? When I was getting an open sign yesterday for a house, I found a 5K sign in my garage. So it probably was the one that we needed
Oh,
to direct them
Yes.
out.
And
I'm like,
I'm glad
where did
that-
this come from? How did this get
Well, I'm glad
here?
Bonnie and I were there, so.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they saw it, they would see
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah.
Okay, that was the only thing.
I heard about that
Yeah.
from, I don't know.
It's probably from Bonnie and I. But other than that, yeah.
But I think it turned out really well. We had a great day and there was no cones in the popcorn. And we had plenty of bananas and granola bars. So the people went for the protein bars and not the granola bars. So that's good to know.
And then where was the water at the end this time?
Yeah, when you came past the finish
Okay.
line, then you got handed the water.
I wonder why will we have to bring up trash if you give it halfway? You know, like if you're running and you're drinking.
Yeah, that's
I
something
know.
I was worried about too, because you see in the big marathons, they take sips of stuff and they just throw it as they're running.
Well, the good thing is,
You
if
know
you
what,
have
I don't
60
wanna
or
have
70
to do it.
runners, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like there's not garbage cans in the park. Maybe we can make sure that there's a trash bin like
We
around.
have a billion.
Not too far,
cardboard
once the
trash
water-
bins,
once they get
so
the water.
easily.
Yeah, we'll just like put another trash bin out.
So are you talking more like the little the
Yeah.
little bottles?
The little ones, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Another thing that I do at the halfway point with the other volunteers is we
Uh-huh.
go through that area, through the park,
Uh-huh.
to collect all the signs, and we also do collect trash,
Oh,
unfortunately.
yeah.
So, we can always just have like a few trash bags and just go through and make sure and pick up trash as we go and pick up the signs, because we end up walking the whole thing, and then we go back and pick up all the signs and return to Claire Miller.
Oh, okay.
So we can always do that too, and just have us have trash bags, and I can have more volunteers near me, so we can pass out more waters and all of that.
That's a good idea. So that's what I came up with, and unless anybody else has any other ideas or suggestions for the next one.
At registration, we did have a couple of people ask, and so we got to kind of guide involved. They wanted to know how come they didn't put, I guess.
Because we
All
didn't
that.
have award, because we
Oh,
weren't
no
handing out any
Yeah.
kind of awards, it was just strictly a fun run. But I think with the turnout that we had, I think we'll do just an overall first, second, and third for both male and female. Because what the chip timer told me is like when you go onto that run sign up and they give you, when you log in your time, it says if you're male or female.
Yeah.
So, I was checking it out, we did have
And
separate-
then if we're gonna do age brackets, then it makes sense to have the birthday. But I don't think I wanna get that detail because I don't have the time to get that detail unless somebody else wants to do it.
Well, for the number of people you get, it's.
Yeah. Yeah, right, I don't think so. But I think the overall first, second,
Yeah.
and third would be fine, for me, I would say.
Yeah.
And didn't we talk about, to make sure it was on the website, like, it wasn't an option, it was an option, but it wasn't mandatory about the shirts, wasn't there? the stuff
Oh,
that,
people weren't entering their size when they were signing up.
Yes, they weren't entering their
So we need
size.
to figure out on our website when people are signing up, a way to
Yeah,
find it. Because when you sign up for an event on the village website, it's very general, what event are you signing up for? You just
Yeah.
type it in. So people don't remember. And so I don't know if we have a way to create a portal that would be more direct and upfront, say, please list, so like, for, I don't know, when we do our stuff, we can sit there and say, please list your attendees, and the golf, people you were going to golf with, and things like that. So we want to remind it, so I didn't have to go that fast through people.
Yeah.
Theoretically, we could always, even if they didn't enter it in, contact them before the
well,
due date.
she tried
It
to
does
do
get a
that.
little, that's not always wrong.
Yeah, Tabitha said that they did try calling the people and nobody ever got back to them. But if we could encourage the village to use the run sign up, because almost all the schools use it, and for some reason, they were hesitant about letting us do it because it actually goes through Oakland County or something for payment. But we would get a better turnout, and then you click on what size you want. There's just, so, I don't know, I'm gonna have to maybe talk to Dave about that. You know, I talked to Jennifer, and Jen's kind of thinking we're just kind of old school, but, I mean,
It's a big deal just to get PayPal for the Veterans Committee, so yeah.
yeah.
We are.
So, I mean, but if there's a way to start now, and it, you know,
Yeah.
it takes some time, and if we have to present it to council that this is what we'd like to do,
We're trying to get them to
you know, then we can work on it, so next year, and it'll alleviate them doing the work. You know, because I was there to hand out the shirts on Friday for the, you know, for the pickup, and that went pretty well. I was there for most of the day, I think I left at 4, the meeting, and then she had to just do it for the last hour. And I only think a couple people came in, and we had some late registrations that way. But it would help them out if we could do that. They don't have to look at it really. Oh, that was good.
so I guess we sort of talked about the summer garage stuff, right? And
Yeah, it's a garage style.
fishing contest.
So my meeting with Lakes Area Bait Shop did get pushed back. We'll be meeting tomorrow in person. I'll just be, driving up and walking in. They were very pleased to know that I'm reaching out so early.
Oh, good.
And they're also, so they're very pleased to know that, we're reaching out early this time around. I want to try and solidify everything. Initially, I said by the end of June, but because we had to push back our meeting by a week, it's probably going to be like early July, which I'm still fine with that. And then in July, once we get everything finalized, then we can start making posts and all of that.
When do we normally have a flyer for the fishing contest, right? 'Cause it's mid-August, fishing contest.
August
Yeah,
12th.
it's August 12th.
So you want to have it probably 6 weeks before, so sometime in July, early July. I mean, Paige will, without asking, already get the application going for the DNR permit. And then, once that's approved, then we post.
Yeah.
You don't want to do one before the
No,
other.
it's- so
That's
it's
what
just
happened with
like-
Tuesdays in the Park. That's why Tuesdays in the Park flyer was delayed, because it turns out that the 11th of July was never confirmed, despite Tabitha's best efforts, until like a week and a half ago. So, yeah, so that's just what we'll be going on that.
And you said she'll just automatically apply for the permit, we don't have to.
From my experience, yeah, she's knows the drill. So,
Then they can just dust off last year's flyer and a couple of
Yeah.
dates. And yeah, it should be, let's get the flyer ready.
Corn roast. I guess that falls under you. Here's my letter.
Well, I don't think we have anything to add since our work session.
Bless you.
Bless you. Other than, we've already scheduled our next meeting.
for,
So,
yeah, just to have in the record, our next meeting is Monday, July 10th. That's what we scheduled, at 6 p.m.
That's what I had to, thank you, I couldn't remember.
Was there anything we had to do budget-wise with that? Because I know we could during the session, but we were playing for some
Like,
reason.
do you want
No, but I submitted, I thought there was something.
What about all the rental?
I already submitted to
Oh, that's right.
Paige the contracts. I have to never have them followed through, they usually just automatically do it.
All right, so that
They get the PO and then,
should be the main,
Yeah.
besides buying the corn.
yeah.
Do you want, we could release budgeted funds for it for next year? I mean, because it'll go to the council meeting in July, and that way we'll have freedom to spend without having issues with reimbursement, things like that. Because that way we won't get it approved till August.
Yeah.
So,
So do I have a motion
To
to release the
How much
budget?
is our budget?
10,000, is that
I'll
$10,000?
make a motion to release the budget for $10,000 for the
Second.
courthouse.
Second.
Can I have roll call, please?
Yep, here, 1 second. That was the amount of $10,000.
Yes.
Breakfast,
Yes.
Carrica,
Yes.
Linman,
Yes.
Jeremini,
yes.
Long Break,
Yes.
McCain.
Yes.
Everyone, did I get them? Yeah.
And I think that's it then. I mean, unless everybody else has done something between we and the week, I haven't done anything. So until our next meeting, I can check later on. to see.
I do have one update.
Oh.
I did talk to Gabe, and he's not going to reapply for Park and Rec, but he is willing to do the silent auction stuff and hit up vendors or businesses.
Wonderful.
He did last year, so we do have that.
That's good.
Holiday decorating contest. I have nothing. But make sure you get your, because we wanted to change the categories there.
I did meet the house, one of the winning houses a couple weeks ago,
Okay.
randomly, person,
December, Christmas or?
Halloween.
Okay.
And so, I'm like, we're going to do even more this year, so they were really comfortable. We might even do Christmas this year too.
Okay.
She was like, oh, we don't want to compete at both. It's like, yeah, go for it. So, yeah, so she was like, yeah, we really enjoyed it. I can't remember which category it
Yeah.
was. Yeah. Maybe we send out what we have for Halloween's categories, so that we can start, when any of us have a chance, just to mull over and maybe how we want to modify them. The ones that were kind of, felt like they were overlapping.
So I would think as long as we did it by the August meeting, we'd be
Yeah.
more than fine and don't have to worry about August.
Okay.
Do we want to review the Christmas categories as well, or the holiday ones as well?
Yeah.
Just to check, see if we're happy with it and how we select winners we want to do. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Express them.
Snacks with Santa. Nobody here? Is it Christmas?
Does he exist?
Yes.
Nothing. Yeah, I can't think about that.
When do you normally contact?
Oh, he's already on the schedule.
Oh, okay.
I haven't done anything with.
And we already got that, I mean, there's a daycare, is that name Richardson has already been booked.
I have, Paige does that,
Okay.
so. I'll have to check with her.
And letters from Santa saying,
I mean, the letter writer, the elves are still on board, so.
okay.
No,
They haven't retired yet.
So, I forgot to mention this, so I'm going to add it to I about the bridge. Is that DPW that looks at the bridge? And
Ben Steen, yeah.
Yeah.
Walkway, yeah.
because I've used it a couple of times and I know some people different, like some of the scheduling. That was a couple weeks ago. So I didn't know, because I mean, when we did our walkthrough, did we talk about?
It's technically not our.
Oh, okay.
Not part of the park.
It's
Yeah, I
not
didn't
our
know.
responsibility, but if you see it, take a photo, send it to Dave, and that way they can, because they are, it's, right now, we're kind of in a reactionary, and then when they get out there, they do replace boards. And it turns out what's been happening with the boardwalk is the nails themselves are rotting, or the screws. So they are, it's not even the wood in some cases, it's the screws, and they were a little short from when they were originally installed. So when they get out there and they do the work, they're going to use, I think, an inch longer screw than they're currently using. And that seems to be helping a lot. The problem with spindles that are getting kicked out is it's, generally speaking, what the guess is, it's kids who want to fish. And you're not allowed to fish off that.
Yeah.
So that's the issue. But that's why they're, I mean, that's, damage. It's not just nature
Yeah.
doing that stuff.
Right.
So they're not allowed to fish?
You're allowed to fish, but over the, not to the spindles, not,
Oh,
I
yeah,
think you're allowed to, but yeah, not,
yeah.
yeah.
So you call it not fishing.
Yeah, no, it's an issue. I'd have to look, but that's, yeah. Just let them know, and then that way they'll go out there and they'll replace them. And lumber's cheapish right now, so. But when they go out there, they end up using something like 75 pounds worth of screws. And it's amazing how much material.
That's a long.
It's a long board.
Yeah, and so there is a lot of things we're working on and trying to, for long-term addressing this, and part of it is, are there grant opportunities to do larger repairs and things like that? Are there other materials to protect parts of it, particularly like the railings and things like that? There is some caps you can put on there to protect the wood, or you replace that wood with tracks or something like that, but it's such a long thing. Replacing all of that with any material would be extremely costly.
Yeah, the wood's still solid.
Yes, and we're going to have I think we're having our engineer inspect underneath to make sure what's underneath is in good shape. The spindles or the pilings and stuff should be fine, but it's, if you don't go there, anything can't tell sometimes. But just to make sure that things are good there too.
Pending business, there's nothing on Veterans Moment, right?
Not that I'm aware of, no. I mean, I'm just out there, it's
Still there.
still there.
Anything new with Armenia?
No.
Playground equipment is
Still in that kind of wait and see where, making slow progress. The only thing that council may end up having to do is make some kind of proclamation statement that we will be committed as a village to paying any costs over and above the $200,000 and budgeted between the $100,000 for the village and the grant of $100,000, because our current designer would very likely exceed that by a healthy amount. Inflation's been pretty nasty in that realm, so. But then right now, that would be yes, so yeah.
and we were waiting, we were waiting for the state approval.
We got feedback, so then we just need to cycle that with them, and then we will progress in the winter, I believe, we'll get quotes, and then groundbreaking, I think, summer or fall next year. So we have plenty of time.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Because the state took some time to approve the budget, so that helped us.
Tennis courts and pickleball courts, I assume that's
Kind of on the same.
kind of earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, just one comment related to that. Last Monday, when they had the grand opening ceremony, there were over 180 people showed up at the Richardson Center there for the...
Wasn't it pouring rain?
No, it was beautiful. It was just before our work meeting. We had,
Oh,
it was just prior to that. I went at 5 up there, and they had Jimmy John's and all kinds of fruit and water and stuff like that. Yeah, there were 180 people showed up. They had a bunch of pickleball paddle manufacturers that had all the paddles you could demo and try and then buy them if you wanted one and that kind of thing. Yeah, it shows you the level of interest in the sport. It's just phenomenal.
I went over to that Del Webb community that's being built in Milford, and they've got pickleball courts going in there.
Well, of course.
Yeah. Plus the pool,
Okay, yeah, we had our regular planning commission meeting on May 25th. We had our public hearing for our ordinance updates on the pools, hot tubs, and spas. We had some good discussion on that. Finalized language. No one came for public hearing, as usual, but we worked through some fine-tuning of the language with our planning consultant, which we sent on to council for approval. A little bit of feedback on the Wolverine Lake Facebook site about that, but I was going to get some of that. But I think we did a good job with it. We spent several months working on it, and our planning consultant did a lot of work researching what other communities are doing and things like that. And I think we did some important things, separating hot tubs from pools and things like that, and putting some specifications in there in terms of size and placement and things like that. So I think we did a good job on updating.
So it's final?
Well, went to council.
Council did the first reading, so the next, in July, will be the next reading, final for approval.
But yeah, I think it's pretty well finalized. Other than that, we finalized our budget, and then we talked a little bit about the voter safety and fun fair that was largely coordinated by the Water Management Board, and our liaison from that is familiar with it, so we had some discussion about that, which I saw didn't sound like there were a whole lot of people there. It sounded like it's overall a good event, so.
Definitely had some people who weren't aware that life vests for children under 6 or 70 pounds have to have the flat on the back.
Flat on the back, yeah.
And the ones that you get at Costco do not have that. And that's where most parents have been getting their life jackets for their kids. So they're all going, oh, God. And they had a QR code at the fair that you could scan to find where you can get the right ones. So I know at the very least, a lot of parents will be better protecting their kids and avoiding the ticket if Grundle pulls them over on the lake. So it's a win-win there. So that was good to hear. Though, of course, we will spread the word about their parents. So that's a good thing to see.
Yeah. And our planning commission meeting for this Thursday was just canceled. We didn't have enough on the agenda to meet, so the report next month will be very brief. That's all I've got.
Council liaison work.
We had our budget work session, so we worked through all of our budget stuff. Then that was a couple weeks ago, and then we had our meeting last Wednesday. It was another one-on-one. We appointed Kathy Moretta to the Zoning Board of Appeals as an alternate because she had a work conflict, so she resigned from. She was a planning liaison to the zoning board, and she wanted to stay in zoning, but she couldn't stay on planning, so she stepped down from planning. And so we appointed Brandon Thorne from the commission to the zoning board of appeals as the liaison. So thank you both for them. So that keeps zoning in fairly good shape. We had Davie Resource Group provide the tree inventory report that we commissioned. We had a grant that came in. And as most of us are probably very aware, we've had a lot of action with trees the last couple of years during these positive tornadoes and things that we've had coming through. So these guys went through and looked at 1,845 trees and 57 stumps. And assessed them, rated them, gave age levels. The village is running a little old in terms of trees, which isn't surprising based on the age of the municipality and things like that. 9 are high to remove, and 14 were high to prune. So you need to trim those back, those would be further at risk. We have, in terms of diversity, we are a little lacking. We have a few too many maples. We are right about where we should be on oak, because you don't have anything more than 20% of any of the categories. So we really need to add like spruces and things like that if we're going to add trees. And we probably would want to just to get a little bit younger on the scale. We had quite a few that are fair, which is pretty common again based on the intensity of our age and things like that. So very good feedback. There's a system that we have now that logged the trees, where they are, which ones need to be removed. The DPW is currently assessing those to determine can they do it or do we need to hire out for those, the critical ones, and where to go from there. They actually recommend get to the pruning because it's a lot easier, it's a lot less expensive, and then the removal stuff, which can add up pretty quick. I think we were having trees removed. It's a bit of sticker shock. So that was really interesting in terms of what we got to move. Our largest tree was an 80-inch diameter silver maple. In fact, according to Scott Garrett, who was the presenter and the project manager, It's the largest tree he's seen since he's known the baby. And we have 3 that are 70 inches or larger in diameter.
So where are they?
I don't
You know?
remember, I forgot. It's somewhere, I want to say on Lakeview
Oh, yeah?
is the big old monster, I recall. Yeah, so we're about in line with other municipalities, and he recommends doing a yearly drive-by of questionable trees, so that we can at least get an assessment of them. And they did this back in, a lot of it was back in March, so even though there's no foliage, Bob Malik was in the audience and asked this great question, how do you know if they're healthy or not? He goes, you look for the buds on the trees and things like that. So they are very informative. Dead giveaways for bad trees, things like fungus. They have fungus, they are in trouble. And of course, rot is another one. That's how they assessed a lot of them. But we are a little bit of damage again. So. Yeah, that was really
Do they have
interesting.
did they do a tree survey?
Yes, that's what it was. So they went around, they measure around, they'd say this is good, and they could just, these guys, their eyes are so trained, they can go, that's this, that's that, and that's.
Were they tagged or not?
They put it into a system. So now we have access for a year to the system. And we always have access, but that you can update and review which trees need to be taken care of.
So when you talk about pruning the ones that are in immediate danger, are we talking about ones in the park?
They could be in the park, they could be in the right of way, they're
Oh, okay.
village
It's
property
not
trees.
people's
They do not
trees,
go on
okay.
people's property.
But they would also be like
This is-
easement, like the
yes.
first so many
Yeah.
feet in your
Yeah,
property.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
on the really
Yeah.
close to the road, they checked those too.
Yeah, so in conjunction with that, the village also did a first reading of an ordinance for trees and stuff like that, that essentially that was required in, for the grant that we received. So for managing public trees, establishes practices governing, and the head of the DPW, Andy, will be in charge of that, and he can make decisions on provisions for emergency removal, even on private property, under certain conditions, such as it's hanging over the street. Those kinds of things, and you can now, well, once this is the first reading, once that's done, Andy, we're gonna have the ability to address that. Because every now and then, you'll see, hey, that tree is looking a little funky, it's close, but it's not on public property. Well, now, a branch could fall on your car. Believe me, I know, driving home one day during the night of the ice storm, I went under the tree branch that was touching the ground. So that was not the most comfortable experiences I've ever had. But yeah, so it was really informative and learned a lot about that. We held our public hearing for the budget, and there was no comments, so then we approved the budget, the millage rate, the taxes, the collection fees, and all that, and everything's the same. So no changes there. We did some budget amendments for this current fiscal year to get it in line for all the things that changed. And then here's a big one. We hired Christopher Sovic as our part-time deputy chief of police. We did interviews a couple weeks ago with him and another gentleman named Matt Simpson. Both were really good, excellently qualified. Chris is formerly the chief of police of South Lyon, and retired in November. So he had 5 years of doing that. So real high floor, knows what he's doing, and will, so if he's work out, eventually succeed Chief Ellsworth as the chief of the village. But he was locked in, so he will be starting on the 1st, so he will be here for Tiki Night. I figure it may be good. If it doesn't work out on Tiki Night, it'll be one of the shortest tenures ever, 2 days, and he'll be out the door. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, he's excited for it. I'm really excited to be working in the village, and I think we'll be really happy with that. Other things, we approved budgets for the water board, or just reviewed some things with the water board. But we also approved a interactive website map that will first start with the lake, and where you can click on it and learn about the depths of the lake, where you can fish, where you can't, where the no-wake zones are, things like that. And in the long run, this interactive map could potentially be expanded to include the parks. You can click on a section of the park, and you can just say what playground equipment we have, what's ADA, things like that, what are the hours of the park, other things like that. So this is being done by Progressive AE, who happens to be a company that also assesses the health of the lake and makes recommendations on what to treat the lake with. So they have the know-how and the staff to do this interactive map, and the water board's looking forward to that. They've been working on this for a while. It'll be interesting. We're all kind of curious to see how merges and what uses we can get out of it. We did some other kind of busy work, just annual stuff every year. And then, yes, we did a massive number of ordinance readings for the hot tubs regulation. There's a lot of them because each one is separate and unique. Some of it's for stormwater management, some of it's for building regulation, some of it's for construction rules, some of it's just for single family stuff and multifamily. And that was just how it was kind of written up by our attorney. So we did our first readings. There was some talk on Facebook as it turns out, but we'll see how it goes with all that. It'll be awesome.
So is it, was the ordinance just for those on the lake, or does it include?
The ordinance is broad as the regulation, but it takes the, from there being really no way out, not allowing generally speaking hot tubs on lakefront properties, which meant that the zoning board was getting inundated with a lot of appeals. And that's not the idea of the zoning board. It shouldn't be the same thing over and over again. It should be, this property's not conforming naturally, what do we do? So they recommended the planning, look at this, and planning did some due diligence and worked hard, and came up with this for us. And so that's why they did that. The biggest differences will be things like now, a hot tub, regardless of whether it's lakefront or not, needs a either lockable cover or a fence of 4 feet at least. And we make a pool house.
Yeah.
So those kinds of things, and you can't drain your hot tub, chlorinated water, into a storm sewer or into the lake. Big fan of that one.
Or your neighbor's property.
Yes, that too.
Oh, no, someone was.
Oh, I believe
Yes, we had
that.
some instances of that too. So those kinds of things are put into place. Another rule about distance from home, distance to the lake, all those kinds of rules. Then we did the second reading and adopted the ordinance for the mixed-use district on Glengarry, where that includes the Glengarry units. So, yeah, a lot of those. Went into closed session, talked about some things there. Yeah. You know about it?
Our Commons Parks and Recreation Liaison, Laura, contacted me by email just before I came here and said there's nothing in the Commons Park. I think they're meeting tonight because she said she would forward on our information. That's me going up.
Any next week?
Oh, we meet next
Because
week.
we meet the third Monday.
Okay. She just said she couldn't be here and that she would be. Any comments from board members?
No, I'm just excited about our first Tuesdays in the park. Hopefully it's a success, and I appreciate everybody helping.
Quick question, what do you guys think of reviving the idea of having a ability to reserve the pavilion? Not a requirement to do so, but the option for people?
So what's the difference of requiring an option?
Well, this way, if somebody wanted to reserve it, they would have to set a camp at like 9 a.m. to get it for like a 1 p.m. party. If they could instead just pay a fee and reserve it out for the 1 o'clock party, things like that.
I have no problem with it, you just, if you're gonna do it, you have to make sure everybody's aware that so if someone does come at 9
Well,
o'clock,
yeah, you
and
have a
use it for the
sign.
day.
Like, yeah, I mean, we'd have a sign there and post it on one of the columns and just.
Say reserved for
Yeah,
1
1 to 4 or
o'clock.
whatever.
Yeah, and then we can also say it is reserved from, say, 5:30 to 7:30 for village event as well. We always can kick people out technically, but do you really want it?
I mean, is it gonna be like, where they have to pay like a deposit?
That would be the, yeah, there could be, possibly.
Because that's, you know, that was, I brought that data up last year or the year before because I saw people
Yeah.
wanting toilet paper. I didn't have access to
Right,
it
yeah.
at the time and using,
Well, like, you guys have seen my whole thing with the staples and the decorations that get left up and things like that. And if there was even a small deposit, at least they would have an incentive to clean up a little bit and things like that.
Yeah.
When wasn't Kelly working on that, wasn't
We
she?
were working on it and then COVID hit.
How much were we thinking?
I don't remember, I want to say maybe $50. It wasn't a lot.
we were checking with
We
you.
had
A
that, we
$50
actually,
deposit or a
thought so.
fee?
It may have been a fee, maybe a deposit. I don't think we even had
Say, that
a fee.
seems kind of, I mean,
It's more of, because like, for example, last year when the Rotary Club came out, somebody did camped out basically. Like, got there early, set up shop, just to reserve it.
Well, that's how it usually is,
Yeah, that's-
isn't it? I mean,
Well, there's a lot of parks that have sign-ups, Woodstock, Gilbert Willis.
Yeah,
Has a sign up.
and it's a big fee.
And there are a lot of places that offer
Is
that.
it at Gilbert Willis?
And that was somebody, I mean, we're talking 15 years ago.
I'm not talking anything crazy, I'm just thinking, wouldn't it be nice for people who want to use it, not to have to be there, and it wouldn't be unreasonable. It might be more convenient for a lot of people. And again, if you want to go there and have a party and nobody's reserved it, go ahead. Obviously, then there would have to be somebody in the village who goes and puts the notice out.
I mean, I'm okay with it.
I just want to say, I might talk to
I
Ben
mean,
about it.
I mean, are we running into issues? Do we know?
Not
with
really.
anything like
It's just,
that?
there's always been added questions about it, and could this make things a little bit easier, potentially avoid future conflict, things like that, kind of thing. And it's just,
Well, I'm fine with that.
I think so too, particularly if it's gonna be something large and you really need the pavilion for whatever reason, you don't have room in your backyard, and it's a big event, and you wanna make sure, why not? Make the comfort level for them.
But if we had, I mean, it wouldn't be bad either to have get a small fee even, just so that, because there is cleanup when people don't, and there's more garbage than dispose of, the DPW and things like that. And we would also then at least have a little more knowledge of what's going on. Oh, hey, all right, this is going on. What happened at the park? Oh, we have the cameras too, and all these things, and we can say, hey, you know, I'm not sure that, I'm hearing, but
So if you have a, as of right now, okay, I decide I'm gonna have graduation party there Saturday. Is the power turned on for anybody to use?
that will be the other thing. Power generally speaking. So,
Anything else? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
I-
Aye.